This is Valley View News.
Japanese experts continue to struggle with problems at a nuclear power complex in Fukushima after the huge earthquake. LA City Council elections are over and it was a big win for the incumbents. And workers scoop up millions of dead sardines in Redondo Beach.
Welcome to Valley View News. I'm Joe Galley.
And I'm Courtney Price. People in Fukushima, Japan have been asked to stay indoors because the nearby nuclear power plant could be facing another explosion. The facility has 6 reactors that are being looked at. Seawater is being pumped into 2 overheated reactors to try and cool them down. Fuel rods were exposed on a 3rd reactor because seawater could not be pumped in to cool them. Government officials reported radiation levels had risen again above the legal limits outside of the Fukushima complex. The facility is about 150 miles north of Tokyo. Tokyo Electric Power Company officials say 6 people were missing after the second blast at the nuclear plant.
The USS Ronald Reagan has been ordered to move further from the Japanese coastline because of possible radiation. The aircraft carrier is being used as a refueling station for helicopters bringing supplies to the ravaged region. Crew members detected low levels of radiation on the deck of the carrier, so the ship was ordered to move upwind of the Fukushima nuclear power plant. The facility is one of those damaged in the tsunami. Officials say the radiation on the deck was easily removed with soap and water.
The American Red Cross is fundraising for victims of the Japanese earthquake and tsunami. Valley View News reporter Mandy Gosling has the story.
Generous Angelinos lined up to give donations to the American Red Cross Japanese Earthquake and Tsunami Fund at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Volunteers collected cash and check donations from those wanting to do their part to help the millions of people displaced by the magnitude 8.9 earthquake and tsunami that struck the northwest coast of Japan. Pasadena resident Tracy Lira said she wanted to do something to help.
In one part of the world, people are fighting and killing each other. In the other part of the world, like, this natural disaster happens, and I just feel like, I want to give whatever I can to the people that need it more.
Los Angeles Red Cross Director of Communications, Monica Ruiz, said they raised nearly $20,000 in the first 4 hours.
Maybe 200-300 cars have come through, through the day. So, but you know what? We've had a lot of people who walk up. This is a park, so there's been runners and bicyclists, and they just stop, give us whatever they have in their pockets, and keep going with their workout.
Karen Sharp said she thinks it is important to donate and also to plan ahead.
It makes us want to be prepared. I talk to my children about it. We need to be prepared.
Experts say Japan is the most prepared of any country in the world for this kind of disaster, yet they will still need billions of dollars in assistance. Volunteer Kathy Spruill said she is confident many people will come to Japan's aid.
Certainly this disaster has been the one that has gotten people to really be interested in how they can help. The money that's donated to the Red Cross goes to the disaster, and it helps to provide people with food and clothing, with shelter, and basic emergency needs.
Another way you can make a donation is through your cell phone. By texting Red Cross, all one word, to 90999, an automatic $10 donation will be added to your cell phone bill. This is Mandy Gosling for Valley View News.
Japanese American community groups in Los Angeles are using social networking tools to raise money for Japan. The president of the Japan America Society of Southern California is encouraging people to donate money to the American Red Cross online or through text messages. He says the organization's website has already gathered thousands of dollars. The group will help promote fundraising drives that will be sponsored by local television stations. Sites include the Rose Bowl, Angel Stadium, and Dodger Stadium.
California State University Northridge has one of the highest concentrations of Japanese students in California. The disaster in Japan is affecting students and faculty here at CSUN. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Asian American Studies professor Dr. Teresa Williams-Leon. How much family do you have in Japan, and were you able to get in contact with them?
My mother is from Japan, so her 5 sisters, 2 brothers, many first and second cousins live in the Tokyo area, the Kanto area.
The Japanese people have a storied past when it comes to tsunamis and earthquakes. In fact, the word tsunami, it comes from the Japanese language. Do you think that having this cultural background helped people prepare for this crisis?
Well, I guess, first of all, it's always difficult, even if there's a past, a history of this. So I mean, I'm sure that once people realize the devastation, the heartache, the destruction, the deaths, once all of that has sort of sunken in. But yes, I do think that first of all, Japanese people are very resilient in terms of what they have gone through. It's also an island nation. And so with not a lot of resources. So I think they've really had to rely on one another, sort of the group culture, where really, the nail that sticks out must be hammered down. So it's really sort of everybody, doing their part, playing their role. And it's also a very wealthy and advanced nation. So I think that all of those things put together, the people have been, really coming together and relying on themselves, the technology that they have, and their experiences of the past of having gone through many of these natural disasters.
Is there a higher level of preparedness for the people in Japan?
I think so. I think that people are aware of their natural surroundings. I mean, certainly, in the urban areas, modern city, and maybe on an everyday level, people don't think about it. But I think there is a respect and a sort of honoring, their relationship to the land, even though they are highly modernized. And so I think there is a high level of preparedness. The Kobe earthquake, I think, was a real learning experience for the Japanese people in recent history. But I don't think it's just the earthquake. I think the Japanese people are really aware of, it's the secondary effects of, gas pipes exploding, fires, floods that come with the earthquake. So I think that there is a high level of preparedness, on a monthly, yearly basis. Growing up in Japan, I remember having drills and taking this is many decades ago, but having these drills and taking them very seriously.
How accepting do you think the Japanese people are going to be as far as accepting foreign aid, because there's such a high level of destruction? It's obvious that America's going to have to come and help, and other nations. Do you think they're going to be welcoming us foreign people to their shores to kind of help rebuild?
I think so. I mean, since World War II, I think Japan's relationship to the United States has really been on the up and up. Strong friendship. Japan's relationship to Europe and other Asian countries. So my sense is that the Japanese people would be extremely grateful. I mean, they're a humble people, they're proud people, but I think in their time of need, even the news coverage that I've seen, many have just been really, reaching out to foreigners, the international community.
Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Williams-Leon, and we wish the best for you and your family and for all those suffering in Japan. Back to you.
The shutdown of several nuclear power plants in Japan might force the country to import oil, which could cause prices of gasoline to rise further. President Obama does not immediately plan to release oil from the U.S. reserve to lower gas prices. The president said he might tap into the reserve at some point, but did not say when high gas prices would trigger such a move. Critics say Obama has done little to promote oil production in the U.S. The president says drilling for domestic oil doesn't solve the long-term problem of American energy consumption.
Soaring gas prices may have Los Angeles drivers looking for cheap gas stations, while other motorists seem to be content in paying more. Valley View News reporter Sarah Pilo reports on these surging gas prices.
No matter the cost, people are going to need gasoline to fill up their cars to get around. It is very likely to find over $4 a gallon in parts of the city and county. With these kinds of prices, United Oil, located in mid-Los Angeles, has economical prices compared to their local competition. Zach Morey comes here for the simple fact that gas is the cheapest in his neighborhood and keeps a close eye on the prices.
I drive by this gas station every day and I look and see how much more it's getting up every day. And I said I should have bought the gas yesterday, should have bought the gas the day before, but I'm here today and it's about 50 cents higher than it was about 2 weeks ago. So I mean, I spent I got $53 on there today, and 2 weeks ago I spent like $42.
For some people, the rising gas costs are just a fact of life and don't seem to be too bothered about budgeting them along with other everyday costs.
It hasn't affected me much. I mean, I pay more for gas, but it was only a few years ago when it was higher than this. And that's kind of what they want, right? To get used to it and then hike it up. Well, when it first went up, I was like, oh, I better just put in $20. But now that it's stayed up, I just fill it up. It's not going to go down anytime soon.
No matter your personal financial situation, these rising prices don't help at a time of sluggish job and wage growth within our economy. Gasoline costs are surging at a pace not seen since Hurricane Katrina in 2005 over the Labor Day weekend. That was when the Gulf Coast shut down refining operations. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Sarah Pila.
People went to the polls this year to vote in Los Angeles city elections. Valley View News reporter Christine Valdez has the story.
Thanks, Joe. Both city council elections and several propositions were on the ballot in the 2011 LA city elections.
On March 8, 2011, residents from LA County went to the polls to vote for city council and important propositions. 30 cities, 3 school districts, and a community college district in Los Angeles County held elections. The races were just a few dozen that took place in the city and school districts throughout the region. The city of West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and Pasadena now have different faces in its city council. John D'Amico took a spot in West Hollywood. Lily Bossy and Julian Gold are the 2 newcomers in Beverly Hills, and Steve Madison and Jackie Robinson took 2 spots in Pasadena.
The city council elections were not the only thing on the ballot. People also had the opportunity to vote on the important propositions.
Proposition M, the taxation of medical marijuana collectives, passed with nearly 60% of the vote. People said no to Proposition O, the Los Angeles oil production tax, with a loss of 51%. The Charter Amendment L, public library funding, passed with 63% overall approval. Turnout was minimal at many of the polling centers across the city.
6 incumbents out of the 15 city council available seats appear to be successful in the Los Angeles city election. Some of the other measures that passed were Charter Amendment G, the fire and police pension plan that would establish a new pension level for new sworn employees in the fire, police, harbor departments, and make other modifications to the plan. Charter Amendment P, the establishment of contingency reserve fund that would cover shortfalls in city revenue or pay for unexpected expenses and determine spending policy. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Coming up, millions of dead fish are found floating in Redondo Beach, and an injury for the Lakers' most valuable player jeopardizes his playing time.